I'm Wes McChristian. I'm our Kentico practice director here at AmericanEagle.com. Here to chat with you all today a little bit about the Pro Football Hall of Fame and the project we did on their behalf. They've actually been a client of ours for the last 20 years. And this project specifically was a rebuild of their previous property. So we'll give you a little bit of insight into what we accomplished on their behalf. And quickly, just wanted to say a few words about us as an agency. We were actually founded in the late 70s, but moved into the current state of what we do in the mid 90s when one of our networking clients asked us if we could build them something called a website back at the genesis of the internet days. So today we're a global agency, about 800 strong, and clients like Pro Football Hall of Fame, represent bread and butter for us as we've worked with them for nearly 20 years now. So to give you a little bit of insight into the project itself, we performed quite a bit of analysis and strategy against the previous version of the site. That was content experience review, as well as user behavior analysis to create really what amount to healthy insights for what we wanted our target to be for the next version of the the version of the site that's now live. We then worked with the Hall of Fame to create new designs, to sort of start to put pen to paper to create a tangible experience that the Hall could visualize what the future state of the site was going to look like. And that of course led into all of the build activities utilizing Kentico as our foundation. And then we actually, as an agency, we own and operate our own data center. So, with the services that we provide to the Hall of Fame, hosting and security were immensely important because this website represents a marriage of content and commerce, and security very important. And then in the kind of the post-launch landscape, of course, do quite a bit of digital marketing and support on an ongoing basis, both in a proactive and reactive setting to get the Hall of Fame what they need. But to say a little bit more about the specific pieces of the project that are important, they were sort of leaving what amount to an archaic content site that had some commerce components running on outdated technology, and it was becoming more and more difficult to maintain. Security and infrastructure, likewise, were a bit outdated, and that was very important as we considered, what is the right platform to move the Hall of Fame to in the future state of the site. Additionally, as I stated, or as I outlined some of the project components, bringing our creative team to bear in order to erase an outdated design that had led to a fragmented user experience, that was going to be a very important part of what we offer the Hall of Fame into the future. And then as part of that, generating user journeys and understanding through metrics and analysis, ultimately how a user could very quickly navigate, minimize click distance throughout the site to get to important pieces of content, such as the Hall of Famers themselves, or across to the commerce portion of the site where they could purchase memorabilia and merchandise. So that led to a really robust content strategy, not the least of which included migration, SEO, so that we could kind of re-architect the way that a user navigated the site. And what this formed was really three primary goals for the site, as well as some additional objectives that were maybe a little bit more business oriented. So first and foremost, increasing online revenue acquired through the sale of tickets. And one thing that's neat about the Hall of Fame itself is they've formed what amount to a bit of a destination experience. So it's the hall itself is surrounded by a village, as they refer to it, of attractions. And the museum was a very important part of how we reframed the commerce activities to sell and expose tickets to users for all of these experiences. Additionally, they're selling team-based merchandise as well as class-based merchandise, and class being like class of 23 or class of 22. All of these players that are effectively enshrined into the Hall of Fame. So increasing the online revenue specific to those e-commerce components was a paramount to the success of the project. And then as we're marrying content and commerce, we wanted to really reimagine and advance the quality and presentation of the content itself. So this is not just Hall of Famers, but it's also news and other various page types, as we would call it in Kentico, that are surfaced through the experience. And then the business, for them, right, these three primary goals, were sort of the underpinning of all of the decisions that we made against the project. But there were still some objectives that the business wanted us to keep in mind as we rewired and rebuilt the new site. So first, enticing loyal followers to keep coming back. The loyalty to a team, the consumption of games, very, very important from a value perspective, right? To create that motivation for users to keep coming back and even visit the hall in person. And then, additionally, one of the pillars of their mission is to sort of immortalize player history as it pertains to American football. And so a large part of that is education for all of the generations, past, present, and future, to provide a website that's going to allow for the surfacing of this information to those generations. And then as we think about the online sale portion of it as well, this isn't just a T-shirt with a team's logo on it. In a lot of instances, there are kind of exclusive designs, as well as collectibles that are a reflection of a given class, a particular team inside of the American football leagues. And so, as they call them, you become a holder of history. You become through a purchase, you become you embody that collection and part of the experience. And then, the other part of it is, as American football is just quite a large industry, and really kind of athletically impressive. We wanted to really ensure that we were delivering an online experience, that could really only be gained through destination style visit, such as being at one of those games and witnessing that prowess in person. And then the last bit of it was just to ensure that as we were moving from one site to the next, that we were supporting feature parity for things like contests, events, and all of the content that was going to be present in the future state of the site. So when we were conducting our evaluations and understanding, what were the requirements of the future state of the site, Kentico Experience, and specifically version 13, was a natural fit. And it was a natural fit because of the industry recognition that it's acquired over its years on the market, as well as a couple other things that were quite important to the hall as they were making a decision. The first of which was documentation. The platform that they were leaving from or seeking to move from, was not very well documented, and that led to some problems with onboarding future team members, as well as ongoing advancement. So with the robust documentation and training afforded to users inside of the Kentico ecosystem, that was a very attractive portion of why Kentico was chosen. And then additionally, there's quite a bit of opportunity out in the market for content and commerce marriage. And Kentico fills that gap nicely. And the Hall of Fame found that really quite attractive, having a single source of management, both for their content needs as well as their commerce needs. And then additionally, the hall is ever evolving, they're growing. So increasing governance through things like workflow, users, and roles, that level of control for content creators, editors, and marketers was really quite important. We've also plugged in an enterprise search appliance to the Kentico implementation, so that powers a lot of the filters and faceting that you see not just on the Hall of Famers listing, but also inside of the commerce experience. And then, lastly, it was chosen because it's a highly performant system, and that was incredibly important for a lot of the different events that the hall puts on. So there we see traffic spikes on the site, have for years now, during events such as the Super Bowl in February, as well as enshrinement in August, and the start of the season there in August, September as well. Because the Hall of Fame does quite a bit of commerce as well, we see another large spike on events like Black Friday. So having a performant system was going to be really quite important to the hall as we seek to navigate performance and optimization across a variety of these events. But ultimately, Kentico solved not just those performance considerations, but also through the use of the Commerce Suite. So, we implemented on their behalf quite a bit of product management and specifically the options as a way to manage merchandise and collectibles that are all available for purchase. We're leveraging customer data not just against order transaction, but also against activity tracking. And one of the heaviest use of the Commerce Suite actually available in promotions. The hall does quite a bit of merchandising for the products, so having a robust suite of tools that was going to allow for not just dollar off, percentage off, but also things like buys and gets. That style of promotion and having that tool set available was going to be quite important. And then, of course, no commerce ecosystem is complete without various integrations. So, we're connected to front office, back office, as well as payment processors as a way to create a circle of data that's all going to empower the Commerce Suite. This is, I think, uniquely sustainable because of the way that Kentico Experience 13 allows for those integration options to happen. And then on the other side of the house, we've got content needs at scale. So knowing that we have to be able to serve this content in a very performant way, it was very important for us to be able to create page types and experiences that really did justice to almost 50 plus years of Hall of Famers. All right, so the individual players that are enshrined each year that have profile and history and timelines. And of course, it's a very visual medium. So using the media library and leveraging that into the experience was really quite important. And because of all of these content needs, as well as the merchandising that the hall does across both content and commerce, we spent quite a bit of time creating widgets, layouts inside of the page builder, so business users and marketers would be able to, effectively manage their content on a day-to-day basis, but still respect the governance and workflows that have been set up by some of the administrators. So, and I've already covered some of the last bits on the slide here, but one of the really important pieces of success criteria for us with Kentico Experience 13 implementation for the Pro Football Hall of Fame was the performance. And, of course, the revenue that we've generated through commerce tactics and implementation, really quite important. But where we've really seen, the most amount of success is just the performance of the system on these peak days, such as the enshrinement and Black Friday for sales and revenue specifically. So, just a quick, neat quote from the Hall of Fame here as well. I won't read it, but it's really just speaks to a long-term partnership that we've crafted with them, and really looking forward to seeing what the next 20 years bring with Kentico powering the site. So thanks so much.